One.
Hello, Dr. Wilson. My name is Susan Hollander, and I'm going to be teaching a second grade math lesson. For my Principles of Learning and Teaching class, we were taught the GNAG lesson plan format, and that's what I'm going to be using today. It's something I really enjoyed learning about. So to get started, let's see if I can get this going. Okay. So for my standard, we are going to be doing an operations and algebraic thinking standard for second grade, and it is use addition and subtraction within 100 to solve 1- and 2-step word problems involving situations of adding to, taking from, putting together, taking apart, and comparing with unknowns in all positions. So this lesson would take place towards the beginning of the year, and we would just be starting to work on word problems. And so what we're working on today is just going to be 1-step word problems, and we're going to be doing the adding to and taking from. All right, so I would start off to activate their prior knowledge. I would just ask them, how do you feel about solving word problems? And we would do a continuum activity where they could line up on one side of the room if they absolutely love them, line up on the other side of the room if they don't like them, and then in the middle if they're just like, they're okay. And the reason why I want to do this is just to get them starting to talk about how they feel about word problems so I can kind of get a read for the class at their level of comfort. As we know, for a lot of students, they don't enjoy doing word problems. So I just think it's important to get sort of that anxiety out there so that they know they're not the only one that feels that way. And I would ask them a few questions, like for the people that really love word problems, like what do you like about them? And if they think they're really challenging and fun, then I think it's good for other students to hear that a challenge can be a fun thing in school. And then for the ones that don't like them, we could discuss like what are some of the trickiest parts of word problems? And they might talk about how it's really complicated and hard to figure out like what math problem you're supposed to solve. So as they mention those things, I can take those into consideration as I start my lesson. What are some of the hangups that they have? So after that, we would do establishing our goal for the lesson. And this is just a goal sheet that I've put together. Before the lesson, I would have the students read the objective, which is the students will be able to solve 1-step word problems using addition and subtraction. And I would have them evaluate themselves in the before column and give themselves a number between 1 and 4. 1 would be, I'm terrified of solving word problems. 2 would be, sometimes I get them right, sometimes I don't, but I'm not very confident. 3 would be, I'm pretty confident doing word problems. And 4 would be, I love doing them. I do them in my spare time at home. Like this is some of my favorite type of math. So we would just discuss that really quickly. And then we would move on. So the steps to solving a word problem, we talk about the 3 steps are to plan. And that really means just reading the word problem very carefully, highlighting keywords because those are going to be our clues as to how we're supposed to solve the problem. And starting out setting up our number sentence, making sure we're getting the correct operation in there. Our second step is to solve, which is where they'll actually solve the problem, but they also need to show their thinking. And in second grade, that's going to look like doing some type of model, whether it's a number line or base 10 blocks or something to show how they're actually doing the addition or subtraction. And then 3 is just to check, like, does my answer make sense to the problem? So this next part we would do as a whole group. I would give them a handout and it would have these word problems on them and we would do them all together. So Josh has 50 PBIS points. He earns 25 more PBIS points this week. How many points does Josh have now? So we would begin a discussion talking about like what exactly is going on in this problem? What are some of the key words that are giving us clues as to how we should solve it? Here I highlighted, so some of our key words, the numbers are 50 and 25. Those are very important. They're going to be in our number sentence. And then the key word is he earns more. So we're going to start wondering, what does that mean? Does it mean he's he's going to get points added to or points taken away from him. And I think it'll be pretty clear, they'll pick up on it pretty quickly, that earns more means it's going to be an addition number sentence. So now, as a group, we would set up our number sentence. And I did 50 and then plus 25 equals, and then a blank for our answer. And I did my best to draw a number line to show their thinking as a group. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, so the answer to that one would be 75 according to the number line. All right, for the next problem, we are going to do, Lucy has 50 PBIS points. She spends 25 points on Smelly Feet Day. How many points does Lucy have now? So for this problem, like once again, we would go through and highlight the keywords and numbers. Key numbers are 50 and 25, and this time she spends. So we would talk about what that would mean, and hopefully they would pick up on that would indicate some subtraction. And so we set up our number sentence, 50 minus 25, and then did our number line below. Oh, I forgot to change this number line. I'm sorry about that. I copy and pasted and forgot to change it. But anyways, that would be 50 minus 25 on the number line, and the answer would be 25. So then I purposely made these problems very similar because I want them to kind of think about what is similar and different in these problems. And so we would talk about that as a class. There's a lot of similarities. They're about PBIS points. They're the exact same numbers being used, 50 and 25. But the key difference is that in one, Josh earns the points, and in the second one, Lucy spends the points. So just really showing them that just that difference of a key word changes the operation in the word problem, and how it's important to slow down when you're reading and find those keywords. All right, so for the next part of my lesson, this would be the application, and I would have them get together as partners and solve these next two problems. And I just went ahead and did it for you, but it's Ava has 62 Shopkins. She gives 30 Shopkins to Macy. How many Shopkins does Ava have now? And we have our number sentence there. I didn't go to the trouble of making the number line for these. And then Preston has $45. His grandma gives him $15 on his birthday. How many dollars does Preston have now? 45 plus 15 is $60. And these they would solve as a partner, and then we would come back together as a whole group and discuss our strategies. See if at that point I check to see, is most of the class tracking, or did they have difficulty with this? All right, so after that, we would do an exit ticket, and this I would have them solve individually, just to be my formative assessment to see how they're doing. The exit ticket is Ellie has 60 pieces of Halloween candy. She shares 24 pieces with her sister. How much candy does Ellie have now? 60 minus 24 is 36 pieces of candy. And finally, I would have them reevaluate their goal. So if our hope is at least they moved up a little bit. So if they were a 2 before on their confidence for solving word problems, hopefully they'd move up 1 and be a 3 now, but we'll see. And then in this part that's thoughts on my learning, I would give them questions to answer. Like if you were a 3 or a 4, I have that on this next slide. If you're a 4, how would you like to be challenged with word problems? If you were a 3, what strategy helps you the most in solving word problems? And if you're a 2 or a 1, ask a question, or they could use one of these question stems or sentence stems. I don't understand how to fill in the blank, or the most confusing part is fill in the blank. So the goal with that is that then I would be able to take those responses and I would look at them, later that day. And then tomorrow when I went to have our math time, I might just do like a mini lesson or a number talk to begin with. And then we would do our math stations, and I could have them put together in groups according to their evaluations. And so like for my 4s and 3 groups, the accelerated ones, I would give them problems with higher quantities and more detailed stories where there might be some distractors in there that they have to figure out. And I would also give them the opportunity to create their own word problems and solve. And that might be something that I could use later in class that week. That would be kind of motivating for them. for my kids that need intervention. I would address their questions that they asked